Every 11 minutes, someone dies by suicide.
911, what is your emergency?
More than 700,000 people die due to suicide every year.
Tonight, as one woman is killed in a shooting.
For every suicide, there are many more people who attempt suicide. It's the fourth leading cause of death among young adults. And every suicide is a tragedy that affects families, communities, and entire countries. It has long-lasting effects on the people left behind. This is the other side of suicide. It was 11:19 on a cold, snowy night of January 23rd, 1986, when Stephanie McEwen and Hugo Bonar welcomed into the world a beautiful baby girl at Mount Sinai Hospital in New York City. Her name, Charisma.
When Charisma was born, a forceps was used to remove her from my womb, and it was terrible pain. I kicked the doctor in the head because the pain was so bad, but when she came out, the pain was nothing compared to the love.
Passengers traveling with young children, please go to gate 6.
5 years after she was born, they relocated from New York to Freeport, Grand Bahama, where she spent her childhood years.
When we came here, she went to nursery school, then Mary Star of the Sea, then Freeport High, and then Sunland, and finally Tabernacle, where she graduated with honors, where exactly she wanted to be. So her childhood was full of, she was just the same way as an adult, really, as a child.
Charisma and I met in primary school almost 30 years ago. I mean, she was just, from then, larger than life. Like, Charisma was charismatic. Go figure, right? She commanded everyone's attention, whether she tried to or not. She just made a lasting impression on anyone she ever came in contact with. Even if it was for 5 minutes in a store, you would have remembered her. And that's how she was her entire life. And she was the fire, I was the ice. Everyone said I was a cooler. But yeah, she was fiery, she was energetic, she was loving, she was caring, she was just larger than life.
After graduating high school, Charisma attended El Camino College in Los Angeles and lived with a relative. When she completed school, she got married and shortly after gave birth to a girl.
She went to work for a few, 1 or 2 months, and then she stayed on with her baby. But her life just kept going. After she had her 2 children. After she had the children, it seemed like the marriage didn't, about 3 or 4 years later, the marriage dissolved. And she went and moved to another state. And the children came here to live in Freeport for a year.
Charisma moved from Florida to Atlanta and settled in Dallas, Texas in February of 2022.
Will it be easy? No. Will it be challenging? Yes. What do you want me to tell you? That it's going to be a picnic? No, it's not. It's going to
From what I could see, Charisma had her life together. She was working hard. She incorporated not 1, but 2 LLCs. One was Fitness Weight Speeds, and the other one was We See Mossing, where she encouraged people to live healthy lifestyles, and she didn't believe in any unnatural medicine. Everything had to be bush medicine. She became a vegetarian. She would not even use unnatural facial products, lotions. She made all of those soaps. She made everything from sea moss. And she encouraged that through Instagram, through Facebook.
I'm wearing my CMOS mask. CMOS gel can be used as a facial mask and also to hydrate the follicles of the hair. You go ahead and use the CMOS gel as a face mask, condition your hair, eat it raw, all that.
What threw us off a lot too was it was like she was planning stuff. She had just launched a website for her Waist Beads business, like just. And we were so proud of her. We were telling, how we were so excited for it. And she was like, yeah, boy, it stressed me out so bad. Like, I'm so happy, like, I actually get it off the ground and I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna do this. This like a month before, maybe less than.
And her life was just so healthy, so full of everything. So for her to just, just die so tragically and so suddenly.
A woman's death has rocked a community.
She was shot and killed outside of...
Dr. Daphne Sands, when you hear the word suicide, what comes to mind?
Suicide, you think of somebody harming themselves. So they take it upon themselves to do damage. Mm-hmm. With suicide, they have done the damage, and then suicide attempt is they have made that attempt to hurt themselves but wasn't successful.
How often do you come across this in the Bahamas?
It's not, maybe one in a month or every 2 months, but it's not as often as it does in the United States. And some is not reported. So I can't say it's not happening, but everyone is not, family members, if they find out what's happening, they may manage it on their own, and so not bring them to the hospital or seek help.
Is that good?
It's not, I think you're not resolving the issue. Now, if that you manage it and you still take them to speak to someone, whether the pastor, some family counselor, then yes, it is good. But we hear more about the successful ones than the ones who may have made an attempt but never made it to the hospital.
So it was a quiet weekend?
Yes.
Because then there are no management problems?
What
No.
causes a person to want to take their own life?
There are times when people feel that there's no way out, that nobody can help them, that maybe the world would be better off with them, without them. Maybe their family members, maybe depending on what the stressor is, what is the cause of them to be in this position. I have cancer. I don't want to have to go through all of this. I prefer to just terminate. So illness, stresses in life. So it all depends on the situation for that particular person at that time. People just don't want to fight. They don't want to deal with certain things. And the way life is heading now, with all these technology out there and teaching you how to do or telling you it's an easier way out, and then their background, your religious support, and that doesn't mean because you are a Christian that you don't have these thoughts or feeling that, hey, maybe the world is better off. Mm-hmm. So we have to then be mindful of all the things that are placed in front of that person at that time.
Can you talk someone out of the idea once they've made up in their mind that this is what they want to do?
You can try your best. But if their mind is set, you can intervene. But you cannot guarantee that your intervention is going to sustain them from doing what they have already set in their mind that, hey, I am comfortable with what I have decided to do, and I'm just going to do it.
What are some of the preventions that you administer to patients who flirt with the idea?
There's counseling, and depends on the cause, say depression. If they're severely depressed, you want to treat the depression if medication is warranted, but then you also have to do counseling. And there's educating the family, being as supportive as you can, and also let them know, because, you know, psychiatry is taboo. Sometimes they would accept a psychologist, talking to a psychologist over a psychiatrist. I don't know why.
What's the difference?
Psychiatrists administer medications. You know, and psychologists, their time is spent counseling. So the name psychiatrist sometimes can be quite taboo. There's your pastor, you know, there's your family member, there's your close friend. And you choose that close friend that you know when you tell them that you know it's gonna stay. And that's the issue that you're dealing with. But that close friend has to let you know now, if I feel that, and we ourselves, because when we see someone and it is confidential, I do tell them now, if it is a threat to yourself or someone else, I am obligated to inform someone.
It seemed like a thin line right there.
Very thin line, very thin line. And I do that a lot with children.
How prevalent is it in the Bahamas when you talk about adolescents and kids?
Since Dorian, I would say a lot of the kids that we're seeing is more suicidal attempt. But when you speak to them, it's not that they wanted to die, but to get out of the situation that they're in. But as far as an attempt to really succeed, I wouldn't say a high number, at least for me. And I think we need to do more research when it comes to suicide.
It is estimated that 15% of adults will experience depression at some point in their lives. According to the World Health Organization, this translates to more than 300 million people worldwide suffering from depression. Whatever the cause, the emotional pain will become too much for some of these people, and they will consider suicide as a means of escape. In fact, approximately 800,000 people commit suicide each year. Multiply that figure by 25, and you'll get the amount of people who attempt suicide. Depression, mental illness, chronic illness, guilt, trauma, substance abuse, or loss, and many other factors influence a person's decision. The tragedy is that many people who consider the thought do not want to die. They simply don't know how to deal with the pain they're experiencing in life.
I think the thoughts began to creep in my mind when I was about, I would say about 9.
As a teenage girl, Benet Benabi battled the thoughts of suicide, which led to her attempting to take her life.
The thoughts began to creep in my mind. It was just like the thoughts like, nobody loves you. You're such a problem child. And then at the time, I was going through a lot of grief because my father died when I was 5. So here I was, my mom was healing from being a young widow, and I was a fatherless child.
Losing a father at a tender age can have a spiraling impact on any child. For Benet, it was a seed planted that was watered by the pressures of teenage life.
You need your parents, you know what I mean? You need your parents, and sometimes, even though your one parent is a good parent, you still need your other parent. And if your parent was taken away from you prematurely, it plays on you. So, like I said, I was suffering from grief and high functioning depression. And when I say high functioning, it means that I'm still going about my daily life like everything is okay, I'm strong.
Until one day, it all became too much for her to bear.
I felt like there was no way out. I felt like I had no purpose. I felt that what I was even born for, If this is life, so much struggle, so much heartache, why am I here? So you don't think about God, you don't think about your purpose. And you're definitely not thinking about that at 17. You think about, it's so much pressure on your mind, and it's just like so many voices in your head telling you, you're not good enough. You'll never be nothing. Nobody loves you. You're this, you're that. Playing on your mind. You understand? So you see no way out. There's no way out. There's not an encouraging word that could help you at that time, because you isolate yourself too. You isolate yourself. And you just listen to those words, and it get louder and it get louder and it get louder until it breaks. Certain things happen in your life, and I think the devil plays on your mind, and you have to not allow depression and not allow negativity to take over your mind. You have to keep your mind. But I broke. I was supposed to be dead. I don't even remember how many pills I took. And I just was swallowing them down. And I passed out. I don't remember much from then. I remember my mommy coming to check up on me. And she found me passed out, and she had to rush me to the hospital. And before the doctors could intervene, because they were getting ready to pump my stomach, I started throwing up. And I began throwing up. So they weren't even able to tell what really happened to me. I was so numb. I've already accepted death. I thought I was dead. I blacked out. I was numb. I thought I was dead. I wanted to die. I lost the battle. I lost the suicide. I lost my thoughts. You understand? I lost. Only God saved me. Only God saved me.
Discover the possibilities.
Discover the possibilities.
Discover the possibilities.
I discovered the possibilities.
I discovered the possibilities.
I'm Janet Shepard, Vice President of LNet Maritime Agency. Life is difficult. It is difficult by the day, by the hour, and sometimes by the minute. Sad to say, but it may get worse before it gets better. However, suicide is not an option. It is a permanent solution to a temporary problem. Deuteronomy 30:19 says, "Today I have given you the choice between life and death, between blessings and curses. Now I call on heaven and earth to witness the choice you make. Oh, that you would choose life."
Here to Please over in the Churchill Building downtown has everything you need, ladies. We have glueless wigs, kinky straight, and kinky curly with a kinky natural hairline. We also carry bundles, clip-ins, closures, and frontals. Hair textures available: straight, curly, body wave, loose wave, and deep waves. Hair to Please, located number 6 East Churchill Building, Bank Lane, downtown. Store hours Monday to Thursday, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m., Friday to Saturday, 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. Telephone contact 351-1962.
I feel beautiful. And now I smell so wonderful. Peace Junction. They got everything you need and more.
We are your one-stop gift shop downtown in the Culmerville Plaza. Handbags, accessories, and fragrances for men, women, and kids. Open Monday to Saturday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Special orders and layaway available. Call 352-9554 for more info.
They got everything you need and more.
Playtime Sports is your leading sports apparel and equipment store. We carry the top brands in the latest styles and at affordable prices. Nike, Adidas, Air Jordan, Reebok, just to name a few. Backpacks, sporting equipment, support gear, and a variety of must-have gadgets. Playtime Sports, creating healthy bodies for a healthy mind. 351-6935.
Under the patronage of His Excellency Governor General Cornelius A. Smith and Lady Smith, Rotary Club of Sunset Grand Bahama will host a black tie affair under the theme A Diamond Affair. Saturday, February 25th, 7 p.m. in the ballroom of the Grand Lucayan Hotel. Rotary Club Sunset Grand Bahama will honor 5 persons on Grand Bahama in education, religion, healthcare, journalism, and business with the prestigious Paul Harris Fellowship Award. Tickets priced at $125. This is an event you don't want to miss.
Only God save me. Only God. Save me, save me, save me, save me, save me.
That story is point on. It's spot on. And obviously, it was her story. I think it was Maslow who would have said, the theorist who would have said that, you know, the hierarchy of needs, one of the basic levels that every human being needs is the physiological needs, food, shelter, clothing, those kind of, but right above that, you have the need for love and belongingness. And whenever it is that you do not feel that you're loved and you don't feel like you have that support from those who you should have it from, which would be significant others, parents, in this case, siblings, you know, you feel isolated. You feel isolated. So definitely knowing that point of not feeling love, that's a major, major, major part of why it is that can lead to this illness. This illness, you know. Nobody wants to live life alone. And that living life alone is more than the physical. It's also the emotional and the mental.
When it comes to depression, mental health, and suicide among young people, there's a lot to say. Brenna Mae Cooper works as a social worker and a chief welfare officer for the Department of Social Services in Grand Bahama. She is also a certified life and confidence coach with a special focus on young people. She has heard Benea's story, as well as many others.
Okay, so this is the young man. I do recall one semester between September to December, we had 20 students who would have, on obviously separate occasions during that time, who would have reported that they wanted to harm themselves. And actually they started off with cutting, self-harm. That was very prevalent during that period. I must say that cutting is not necessarily a direct, it doesn't mean that it's gonna, okay, this person wants to commit suicide, but it is need for concern, because sometimes we do see that when we backtrack, they might have had some incidences where they tried to cut themselves. So there is a strong correlation there. But I would say there's been a significant increase over the years. And in the past, I can say in the past, about from 2019 to now. He's expecting a call from you, so you can go ahead and make your appointments and all of that. Yeah.
So we'll be completing assessment, social history.
What we have found in our work is that we have a lot of situations where the home setting is not ideal. We have cases where there are alleged abuse, sexual abuse, physical abuse. Children don't always know how to deal with that. You may say, okay, tell a trusted adult, but if the only trusted adult that I know outside of, and they don't have the right relationship sometimes with their teachers. So the only other adults I know and I really trusted are the ones who are abusing me, or in most cases, my mother's boyfriend, paramour, or my father, who is abusing me. How can I tell my mother? And then maybe I try telling my mother, and now our relationship is now strained. Our relationship is strained, so that's pressure. So the child internalizes all of that because oftentimes they don't share it with anyone. But even on that point, the flip side is that, and this is a clarion call to the friend of the child who is experiencing suicidal ideations. What we have found out is that there are a number of students who are experiencing suicidal ideations who would have said something to their friends. And the friend, in all, the goodness of their heart, they work with them, they try to be there, be that support. What we say to them, you are not the professional. So we say to the friend now, and it tells us now that our work is even greater, because now, along with guidance and everyone else that have any level of influence over students in the Bahamas, we now have to train, kind of, these friends, these other students, classmates, schoolmates, what it is to know what to do when it is that your friend or a classmate comes to you and say that, I want to harm myself, girl, this just don't even worth it. I don't even know why I was even born. All of these statements are red flags. They're red flags. What do you do with the red flag? You have to report it to a teacher, administration, guidance counselor, your youth leader at church, your community leader, mentor. You have to report it. And sometimes too, some young people, they feel as though, I'm not a friend if it is that I go and I disclose it. My friend confided in me. But again, it goes back to, are you the professional? What you say and how you handle the situation is life or death for your friend. It's impossible for us to talk about suicide and not talk about mental illness and depression. For a long time, when you talk about mental illness and we're talking about the different types of illnesses, it was, let's call it what it is. People say that it was demonic, the gods are against you or whatever the case may be. But we are learning, and research is showing this even more. And culture is becoming a bit wiser in that regard that, okay, no, it goes beyond the spiritual now. It's beyond the spiritual.
To give God glory and praise tonight. Come on, everybody, open up your mouth and bless the name of the Lord. I know you had a long day, but you're in the house of the Lord. Come on, open up your mouth and give God praise. That's what
Pastor Glenn, when you hear the word suicide, what comes to mind?
Suicide, someone going through depression, oppression, not getting the help that they need and stuff like that. I feel like that's where it triggers. Going through so much situations, challenges, and not getting the help that they need, or not seeking the help that they need. I feel like that's the where it starts.
Is it demonically influenced?
There are some things that are demonically influenced, and if this is where I look at it, especially for the spiritual world, if something is an open door long enough, and there could be an entry point of the demonic world that can enter and further damage. Because you got to understand, the enemy can't do nothing without an open door. And so we deal with the demonic side of it. But what about the side that led to me being vulnerable? And so we deal with that part. So he can't enter. Satan can't do nothing with us unless we are in a place where we are breached. We are breached, our mind is breached, and then because we are in this breached place, now we are open to all kind of spirits. And that's why it's so important for us, even as spiritual leaders, as people, to not just look at the thing from a theological standpoint, but look at it from a logical standpoint. Because before you can deal with the demon, there was an open door that let him in. And so we spend more time trying to cast out demons, than we spend trying to help people deal with oppression and depression.
For someone who has given into the thought of completing suicide, is there grace for such a person beyond the grave?
I do not have the ability to articulate when someone dies where they goes, because I don't know heaven and I don't know hell. The way I look at it is this. God knew the scope of man. Before he formed us, he knew us. He put us in a womb, incubator, bring us in the earth. And everything that we might ignore when it comes to someone's life, God sees. And while we have the ability to judge in a sense, but then God look at the heart. And sometimes we can forget the fact that he is sovereign. And he give mercy to who he want to give mercy to. And he give grace to who he want to give grace to. So the whole thing of, oh, as soon as you kill yourself, you go to hell, I think it's deeper than that. Because there are some people who commit suicide, they're not in their right mind. You're telling me the God that we serve, the God that I preach about, and I tell him the God of love, is going to put me in hell for not being in my right mind and doing an act.
But I believe that God is going to do something miraculous for you. Neighbor, I'm about to
Traditionally in Christianity, that's always been the saying, but this is before we got a better understanding of grace.
This is before your daughter was depressed. This is before your son drank a bottle because he was molested, you didn't know. See, you could answer the question on the spot, oh, they're going to hell. But let's sit down, let's dissect this. Let's slice this to pieces. And let's determine if you're still going to end up with that answer. That person gone through trauma. I mean, things that you would probably never even dream of. That person might have been out of their mind at the moment. That person might have been carried away by all kinds of substance or something. You don't even know. You don't know. And at the end of the day, when God and man reconcile, no one knows. I'll never be the one to say that person gone to hell. The Bible gives us, okay, you should not kill, you should not do this. The wages of sin is death. We know all of that. But what if God handled us, who are alive, the way we handle people who die? Understand? We're walking every day and we're committing sin. We're walking every day. And because we have an opportunity to say, Lord, forgive me, we think that we're okay. But our heart is still dirty and nasty. My thing about it, we got to look at it as servants of God and knowing that God is sovereign, which means that he does all things well. He is God. We can't sit here and put nobody in hell. Because I have a funny feeling on that day, we're going to be shocked. And we can be surprised because the one who looked like it might not be the one who making it.
Research has shown that when people seek help for mental illness, they go first to a member of the clergy. The reasons are inherent in the nature of faith communities. They offer spiritual experiences, promises of peace and joy, opportunities for community and for communion with God. Unfortunately, there are some who have turned to the church for help, but instead got hurt.
I would say it like this. First of all, let's deal with the hurt part. The church didn't hurt you. Someone in the church hurt you. My point is that when you put your expectations in people, you will get hurt. And I think we approach church from the idea of me connecting with someone rather than connecting with God. Don't put your expectation in anybody, from the preacher on down, that much that they could hurt you so bad that you never step foot in another church. Don't let no one do that to you. I don't care how good they preach. I don't care how much the anointing falls. Make sure at the end of the day that your trust is in Jesus.
I'm Janet Shepard, Vice President of LNet Maritime Agency. Life is difficult. It is difficult by the day, by the hour, and sometimes by the minute. Sad to say, but it may get worse before it gets better. However, suicide is not an option. It is a permanent solution to a temporary problem. Deuteronomy 30:19 says, "Today I have given you the choice between life and death, between blessings and curses. Now I call on heaven and earth to witness the choice you make. Oh, that you would choose life."
Here to Please over in the Churchill Building downtown has everything you need, ladies. We have glueless wigs, kinky straight, and kinky curly with a kinky natural hairline. We also carry bundles, clip-ins, closures, and frontals. Hair textures available: straight, curly, body wave, loose wave, and deep waves. Here to Please, located number 6 East Churchill Building, Bank Lane, downtown. Store hours Monday to Thursday, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m., Friday to Saturday, 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. Telephone contact 351-1962.
I feel beautiful. And now I smell so wonderful. Peace Junction. They got everything you need and more.
We are your one-stop gift shop downtown in the Culmerville Plaza. Handbags, accessories, and fragrances for men, women, and kids. Open Monday to Saturday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Special orders and layaway available. Call 352-9554 for more info.
They got everything you need and more.
Under the patronage of His Excellency Governor General Cornelius A. Smith and Lady Smith, Rotary Club of Sunset Grand Bahama will host a black tie affair under the theme A Diamond Affair. Saturday, February 25th, 7 p.m. in the ballroom of the Grand Lucayan Hotel. Rotary Club Sunset Grand Bahama will honor 5 persons on Grand Bahama in education, religion, healthcare, journalism, and business with the prestigious Paul Harris Fellowship Award. Tickets priced at $125. This is an event you don't want to miss.
Playtime Sports is your leading sports apparel and equipment store. We carry the top brands in the latest styles and at affordable prices. Nike, Adidas, Air Jordan, Reebok, just to name a few. Backpacks, sporting equipment, support gear, and a variety of must-have gadgets. Playtime Sports, creating healthy bodies for a healthy mind. 351-6935.
Discover the possibilities.
Discover the possibilities.
Discover the possibilities.
I discovered the possibilities.
I discovered the possibilities.
And her life was just so healthy, so full of everything. So for her to just, just die so tragically and so suddenly.
It started like any other day for Stephanie Cox. That is until the phone rang and the voice on the other end was a close friend of her daughter, Charisma Bona.
Hello? What? What happened? She said Charisma's dead. I didn't believe it, but I said I couldn't believe it, but what happened? What happened? I didn't think she was lying. When I spoke to the police about an hour later, and he said that she was shot. There was a single bullet to her neck area. I said, "Is she in the hospital?" He said, no, ma'am, she's dead. So when that was, I don't know, but what could I have done? And I wasn't there, so I couldn't do nothing. So I called my pastor, Kyle. I said to pray for me, to please pray for me. Pastor Kyle came with some people from my church, when they came, they prayed. I lost it. And I'm still losing it. I'm so hurt. I'm so broken. I don't know. I'm lost. I'm lost without her.
The news of her death spread quickly, and within hours, hundreds of friends began expressing disbelief throughout social media. Some through words, others by video.
People have posted statuses. They have said, check on your strong friends. Check on your strong friends. We don't need you to check on us. We need you to show up. We need you to stop asking, and we need you to do. Your strong friend will always say, I am okay. I don't need anything. I'm good. We ain't good. We ain't okay.
After this happened, the mantra of check on your strong friends was echoing everywhere. And though I agree with the sentiment wholeheartedly, it's definitely not enough. It's not enough because we checked on each other often. We supported each other. We actually have a group chat, a group of close friends of ours. And we had what we literally called it mental health checks. And we would go in the group, once every maybe couple of weeks, sometimes couple of months if everyone, is busy. Hey, mental health check, how's everyone doing? And everyone had to chime in if you didn't sound right, or if you decided to try to skip the mental health check, we were calling you out on that. She actually used to express her gratitude for having a group of friends like us, for the bond that we have, for the support that we give her, for the fact that we never judge her. She could tell us anything and she know we'll always be there for her. She used to actually say that to us often. So we were like, what did we miss? How could we have prevented this? Because a lot of people didn't feel like there was any way that someone who was this close to her could have missed any signs.
But were there any signs? Some believe that Charisma left messages on her social media posts. The day before her death, she posted a picture on Instagram that read, "Take care of yourself." Using waist beads, she also formed a hidden message that read, SOS. On the day she died, she left another message that read, "Sending love and light, always and forever." That was her last post. But perhaps the biggest sign of them all was the day she died. September 9th is the day before World Suicide Prevention Day.
One particular article that we came across, it said that persons often wonder, what could I have done to prevent it? Or what could I have done to see the signs? And a lot of the time, the answer is nothing. Reason being, a lot of persons who decide to do this, when their mind is made up, it's made up, and that's it. And a lot of the time, they shield persons closest to them from the fact that they're even considering it, because they know how much they're gonna hurt those persons, and they also know that they will try to talk them out of it or try to stop them from doing it.
They don't want to do it because they don't want to hurt you. They're not doing it to intentionally hurt the family. They're doing it to relieve pain. And the pain that they're feeling, you and I can't understand it. You and I are not feeling it. You need professional help. That's the only one who can help them. I have another child, Nathia, who's my boss. She's strong. Nathia if it wasn't for Nathia, I don't know where I would be, because she did all the planning for the service. She did everything. I miss everything about Charisma. Like, we were so different. But she just couldn't relate to me. And she knew, she just knew things. Even if I didn't say nothing, I can't do this. It don't make no sense. I can't. It don't make no sense. I crying too much. It's just still so fresh. Like I can't talk about it now.
She truly had a tendency to bring out the best in everyone who was blessed to be in her space, and she will be sorely missed.
We miss you. We miss Charisma the jokester. You had an elite sense of humor that almost rivaled mine, almost. We miss Charisma the hustler. You could have sold ice to an Eskimo and waist beads to a sumo wrestler.
Jesus said, I am the resurrection and the life. Yes, you see death. We see death. But they that believe in me, though they die, yet shall they live.
This is the worst feeling. Nothing. I feel it in my gut. I feel it in my, I feel like the same day I had her. I could, it's just all that keep playing back in my head of how I went through that terrible childbirth with her. Charisma's memory, her life, it just keep coming up. I don't know. It's so hard to describe how a mother feels, and especially for someone who is so close. I know some parents are not as close to their children, but when I speak of Charisma, I speak of a star, a queen. She was a queen.
I feel beautiful. And now I smell so wonderful. Peace Junction. They got everything you need and more.
We are your one-stop gift shop downtown in the Culmerville Plaza. Handbags, accessories, and fragrances for men, women, and kids. Open Monday to Saturday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Special orders and layaway available. Call 352-9554 for more info.
They got everything you need and more.
Playtime Sports is your leading sports apparel and equipment store. We carry the top brands in the latest styles and at affordable prices. Nike, Adidas, Air Jordan, Reebok, just to name a few. Backpacks, sporting equipment, support gear, and a variety of must-have gadgets. Playtime Sports, creating healthy bodies for a healthy mind. 351-6935.
Discover the possibilities.
Discover the possibilities.
Discover the possibilities.
I discovered the possibilities.
I discovered the possibility.
Under the patronage of His Excellency Governor General Cornelius A. Smith and Lady Smith, Rotary Club of Sunset Grand Bahama will host a black tie affair under the theme A Diamond Affair. Saturday, February 25th, 7 p.m. in the ballroom of the Grand Lucayan Hotel. Rotary Club Sunset Grand Bahama will honor 5 persons on Grand Bahama in education, religion, healthcare, journalism, and business with the prestigious Paul Harris Fellowship Award. Tickets priced at $125. This is an event you don't want to miss.
I'm Janet Shepard, Vice President of LNet Maritime Agency. Life is difficult. It is difficult by the day, by the hour, and sometimes by the minute. Sad to say, but it may get worse before it gets better. However, suicide is not an option. It is a permanent solution to a temporary problem. Deuteronomy 30:19 says, "Today I have given you the choice between life and death, between blessings and curses. Now I call on heaven and earth to witness the choice you make. Oh, that you would choose life."
Here to Please over in the Churchill Building downtown has everything you need, ladies. We have glueless wigs, kinky straight, and kinky curly with a kinky natural hairline. We also carry bundles, clip-ins, closures, and frontals. Hair textures available: straight, curly, body wave, loose wave, and deep waves. Here to Please, located number 6 East Churchill Building, Bank Lane, downtown. Store hours Monday to Thursday, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m., Friday to Saturday, 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. Telephone contact 351-1962.
No.
Okay, that's good.
What happens now to family on the other side of suicide?
Right.
What are the long-lasting effects for those who now have to deal with someone?
It's hard. And I always think of the kids, you know, because kids are cruel. And so you can imagine if friends get wind of, oh, that person's mom took her life, or that person's father or grandparent, and they don't, then they get in this environment, you get in an argument, or they throw it at you, or you're not part of their group. And so that's a life, that's something that a child has to live with. And then to them, they may be, what did I do to cause this person? So they take on that blame, they live with that blame, or they end up being patients who have to now see psychiatrists or psychologists. And family members have to all, not only the kids, but everyone is like, where did I go wrong? What did I do wrong? And live with that guilt that I couldn't save that person.
There is always a light at the end of the tunnel. It may seem far, but it is there. At 17 years old, Benet could not see the light, but today, she is living in it.
Shortly after I attempted my life, I graduated high school. I started my first business at 19, and, you know, I began to flourish. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm married. I have 2 beautiful kids. And if I died at 17, none of these things would happen. Sometimes I'm human. I still go through things. You know, we all still trying to figure it out. When I have a negative thought, it just don't go away. It don't. It's something that you have to be delivered from. You have to go to therapy, something. You have to do something. You have to keep your mind positive. Even when it starts to get negative, try to listen. And what I do is I listen to gospel, I'll sing, or I'll listen to motivational speaking. Something to keep me up when I feel down, because we're still human. We're not gonna have all good days, but it's not gonna always be bad. So maybe today might be bad, tomorrow might be better.
Miko.
Hi.
How are you?
Good.
Good to see you.
Good to see you again.
You're welcome.
Thank you. How have you been?
I've been good. Good. Taking it one day at a time.
I know that's
God is good.
Amen.
Have a seat.
Thank you.
Welcome.
So it has been 4 months since we last spoke, and we just wanted to get an update on how you were doing since the passing of your daughter. How have you been coping?
I've been great. I've been feeling good. The Holy Spirit, like I said, God have me. I haven't shed a tear, thank God, since the service. And I haven't been emotional because God knew my weakness and He covered me. He knew my strength, He covered me. So.
Did you ever think that you would be to this point since her passing?
No, I've never lost anything like that before in my life. And I don't know how to this day, that I cannot cry, I cannot. People think like I should be downtrodden and hurt and everything. No, the Holy Spirit got me. When I tell you God, He got me, Jesus. I can't begin to describe how this feeling is.
And Charisma had 2 kids. your grandchildren?
Yes.
How are they?
Yeah, they were in therapy in Texas because I stayed with them for 2 months. They're with their dad in Los Angeles. They, you know, we talk to them. I talk to them daily. I text them, I talk to them. But they're coping well.
Good. You could call Thea.
Okay.
I guess you could just put on the phone. We just want to get on the phone, just saying how she's doing.
Tia. Okay, I have you on speaker. I have you on speaker with Romiko.
So we're just here checking on you guys since we last spoke, and I just wanted to hear your voice to see how you were doing.
Okay, thank you. You know, so far it's been okay. You know, I still have those moments, but God is good.
The 23rd would have been your first time experiencing life without your sister. What was that day like for you?
First birthday without her. It was really sad, especially the morning of. You know, I was just feeling so many different emotions, Jared, but as the day went on, you know, I spoke with Mommy a lot that day too. So as the day went on, I felt better. Mommy just encouraged me to just, you know, think about just the happy moments with Charisma, because of course she wouldn't want us to be sad. You know, so I just said, you know what, Tia, you just need to celebrate her life, because she lived. That's one thing she did.
You being a sister now on the other side of someone who is no longer here, what words of advice or encouragement would you have for anybody who may be in your position?
Some advice I would give to persons is just, you know, put your faith in God and God alone. He's the only person that can help you through this. Like I said earlier, you know, you will still have those moments, because honestly, every second of every day, Charisma is always on my mind. You know, you would just be questioning yourself as to, you know, what if? You know, what if she was still here? What if I had did this? What if I had said this? What if I, you know? But only God knows that answer. You know, she's gone, and we would never really know why. We can try and piece it together, but just trust in God to get you by.
Awesome, man. Good to hear from you.
Her legacy, her life will be celebrated forever. She will never die in my heart. She will always be my firstborn baby.
Awesome.
I only have 2 children. They call me Mommy.
Awesome.
Everybody else call me Steph.
How do you encourage someone contemplating the idea of suicide that life is worth living?
You have to try and bring them out of that dark place. But then there's only so much we as counselors, as pastors, as parents, as friends can do. But we have to not give up. We have to still try and reach out and let them know the help is there. And sometimes, you know, people who succeed, they have that faith. And they know the support is there, but for them it's just, they don't see it. Even though we might say, do you see that little light at the end of the tunnel? And I'm glad when they say, I can now see that little light. But there are some people who just, that light just do not come. Mm-hmm. And it's sad. Mm-hmm. Sad.
And life is beautiful.
Yes, it is. We have beautiful beaches. Although I'm guilty, I don't hardly go. Mm-hmm. But we have beautiful beaches. You have your churches. Find some activity to be involved with. Life is not just about work and home.
Is that healthy?
Work and home 7 days a week. No. Mm-hmm. You need to have an outlet. You need to have something that you love to do. Take your family out for a drive, go have dinner, but find a way to keep yourself thinking clearly. There's exercise, reading, not sitting playing games or watching television all day. No, get active.
For far too long, the conversation about mental health and suicide has been ignored. But there are people walking among us every day who appear to be happy on the surface, but are hanging on by a thread. Let's have the talk about mental health in the Bahamas. Let's begin to encourage others to get the help they need, even if that person is you.
There is always hope. I know you can't see it now. I know you can't feel it now. I know it looks gloomy all around you, but there is always hope. There is something out there. There's someone out there that is waiting with a hand extended to help you come out of that place you're in. I know it's dark. I know you're not sleeping the way you should. I know the money is not right. I know your marriage gone funky and everything, the money gone crazy. But let me tell you something. Everyone in life will experience lows. But I can tell you this, it ain't gonna last forever.
Better days are ahead. That's not just a cliche. You have to believe it within yourself, and you have to surround yourself with people who can reinforce that. But I say to you that you are loved, that there is purpose for your life. Just reach out to someone who can assist you in knowing what that purpose is for your life. Do not give up.
The semicolon is used as a symbol for suicide survivors. It's a symbol of strength. It represents a sentence the author could have ended, but chose not to. The author is you, and the sentence is your life. It tells us that you can pause in the middle of life's hardships and continue on. There is always something to look forward to.
Find that place, even if it means before you take your life, if you gotta check your own self into a mental institute, get there and then get the help you need. I'm available. If you're in Freeport, Grand Bahama, my church, number 2A Crosstown Plaza. And if you need to just run here for shelter, come, we'll help you.
The Department of Social Services, the school social workers are here for you. We have private agencies like the Grand Bahama Resilience Center. We have public agencies as the Public Hospital Authority, Psychological Services. You have youth leaders who you can reach out to, mentors in your community, who you can reach out to. Please reach out to someone, because like I said, there's life, your life is worth living.
This documentary is not intended to encourage suicide, but to illustrate to those considering it what life would be like for those they would leave behind. One suicide is one too many, especially for those on the other side of suicide.
You're watching the ZNS Network, the People's Station.
We'll have an important part to play when it comes to ensuring that our marine resources are secure for future generations. Law enforcement officials have a particularly important role to play. To help them be more efficient, they all had to get in the water and up close and personal with nature.
There's a spark of greatness in each of us. That spark is called personality. Individual gifts and talents provide the fuel to set that spark ablaze. Each child has the right to an education which values their personality and nurtures their talents, while teaching them to be respectful to their parents and their cultures.
Well, what about me? What about you, what? Well, I thirsty too, you know. You want to see all the water out there? Well, why you don't give me your water, and then you go try and drink that salt water? You crazy, eh? I ain't the one talking to a dog, you know. Ain't nobody could drink salt water. Then why you won't give it to me? All dogs need fresh, cool water and sufficient shelter from the sun all year round, especially on the beach and during the hot summer months.
Summers are very hot here in the Bahamas, so please make sure all pets have ample, cool, fresh water in proper containers and sufficient shelter from the sun, even on the beach. And make sure all dog houses and kennels have proper ventilation. Let's make it Bahamian to be humane.
This message has been brought to you by the Bahamas Humane Society and the Broadcasting Corporation of the Bahamas.
They are the main lines of defense, protecting our country. Members of the Royal Bahamas Defense Force, the Royal Bahamas Police Force, Bahamas Customs officers, and the Department of Marine Resources, accompanied by staff of the Office of the Prime Minister and the Nassau Airport Development Company, took part in a special marine conservation workshop in June. The workshop was hosted by the Bahamas Reef Environment Educational Foundation, BREEF, under the theme Fish for the Future. It is the second year it's been held, and it is expected to be an annual event.
Since the creation of BREEF, we've been holding marine conservation teacher training workshops on San Salvador, bringing together educators from schools from around the country. In 2017, we reached our goal of having at least one BREEF-trained teacher in every school across the country. And we realized from the get-go that there are other entities involved in educating the public, and law enforcement plays an absolutely essential role, both in enforcement and communicating what the regulations are and why we have them with the general public. We have a really engaged group of participants at this workshop, asking questions about the science and the biology and the ecology and how organizations can work well together. It doesn't make sense to be operating in silos where one agency is doing great work and another agency is doing great work, but there's not collaboration. And workshops like this and others are really bringing people together to work well together.
Classroom sessions were held at the Coral Harbor base of the Royal Bahamas Defense Force. Lieutenant Desiree Cornet says they have a special unit within the Defense Force to deal with protection of our environmental treasures.
We have a section in the Royal Bahamas Defense Force now called the Environment and Conservation Office, and what we've done is we are interested in building capacity. So when you're going up boarding and you're looking for your weapons and your human smuggling and those sort of stuff, we also want them to be very aware that there's wildlife trafficking. That's a $23 billion industry, so that we teach them different methods and tactics, different types of species and the identification, show them what to look for, practices of how they've been apprehended in the past.
But with 180,000 square miles of sea in the Bahamas, the Defense Force has their work cut out for them.
Royal Bahamas Defense Force, our mandate is guarding our heritage, and big part of our heritage is whatever occurs in the Bahamas, and occurs in the Bahamas naturally. And so we do have endemic species of iguanas and different type of fish. Poaching is a huge wildlife enforcement issue. Of course, we don't look at it. We try to bridge it apart from maritime, but it's huge. And what happened with those ladies that in 2014 did smuggle those iguanas, we're trying to put an end to that, and we're doing that by making sure that our law enforcement is very aware of what happens. And so we do teach them about how to identify those, as well as the turtles, which type of vessels to look for, how we can get networks in different Caribbean countries to help us with a regional approach towards this.
And of course, networking is critical for the participants of the workshop.
I think that persons involved at Wildlife Enforcement Network should not just be enforcement persons. It needs to be every Bahamian. We need to take into consideration that if we see somebody, whether it's a foreigner, whether it's a Bahamian that are catching turtles or sharks or anything that's endangered, to understand there's a science behind why it has been endangered or has been whether it's been protected, and to reach out to enforcement network and make sure that they are aware and don't stop until they get some answers done.
And at the end of the day, it all affects us.
That's us, because we're all Bahamians, right?
You got it.
That's our country. We need to protect it first.
Through networking and armed with more information, the participants were prompted to rethink the way they approach certain aspects of their work. Michelle Sweeting is the environmental coordinator at the Nassau Airport Development Company, NAD.
We are currently working on a wildlife trafficking program. We want to start it in-house. We will do phase 2, which connects all of the domestic airports. And then thirdly, we're looking into a regional phase. So with that, learning today all of the regulations, how much money is made through wildlife trafficking, how it all connects, but more importantly, how we need to understand how our partnering government agencies, some located at the airport, Customs and Immigration, all connect, including Royal Bahamas Defense Force, to make a difference. Persons try any form of transportation, persons putting it inside their clothing, plastic bottles, unfortunately, drugging the animals. It gets pretty extensive, but you have to be very alert and think about the smallest of details.
Corporal Landrail Gibson, who was attached to the Marine section of the Royal Bahamas Police Force, will use what he has learned to help educate yachters who anchor on our coral reefs. Now that's a real no-no. But he also learned about a fish that plays an incredible role in protecting the reef system.
One particular fish is the parrotfish. I didn't understand how important it was because, yes, I didn't understand how important it was, but the parrotfish is responsible for cleaning and keeping the reef very healthy. And if the corals are then damaged in a way, then these fishes will no longer be in that area to keep that.
So we should never eat parrotfish, right?
So we should never eat parrotfish. We've had instances where we came across a lot of poisons with lionfish, stuff like that are really invasive, and I think they really put a hamper on the population, the grouper population, the smaller fishes or whatever the case may be. That is important to the Bahamas.
Why do you think this course is so important?
Well, it's important because I think it creates awareness. I think every police officer, not just every police officer, every citizen of the Bahamas should know marine conservation. They should have an idea of what is happening in our waters, the importance of trying to protect what's in our waters for future generations. So yes, I understand the importance of it and what we ought to do to keep it sustained for future generations.
After the classroom, it was time to head out to sea to the Southwest Marine Park and take the plunge. In the deep blue sea, they were able to have a greater appreciation for everything they learned in the classroom. Some of them were non-swimmers. For many of them, it was their first time snorkeling.
It's really calm down there. It isn't as rocky. The rocks is actually part of the coral. So it's kind of surreal, just going from just looking at PowerPoints and then getting the hands-on and practical in the field.
So you did see some fish?
Yes.
Good. How many?
So I would say about 20. Yeah, I saw a lot of the yellow snappers.
So how does this make you appreciate the marine environment now?
It makes it, I really got a new inspiration from it. It's been on the Defense Force, we patrol the waters, but we don't really engage with the fishes, especially the smaller reef fish.
Has it kind of changed your perspective of things?
Definitely, because we...
You'll be doing it again?
Of course, this is going to be something I do on a daily.
Make it a family event?
Yes, definitely. I told my wife I have to bring out snorkeling.
It was also a new and exciting experience for Marvin Bain, who was attached to the Customs Department's Marine Unit.
Well, I've learned a lot. I learned about the bonefishes, the various different reefs we have here. I've learned a lot about the grouper. You know, that's a very popular fish here. I've learned a lot about that. Yeah. While I'm on the water, I'm going to look to make sure the person has the right size count, the right size grouper, make sure they're not juvenile. Also the crawfish, make sure the tail size is correct. If
So
not,
really, this has been a very important workshop for you.
it has been. It opened my eyes to a lot of different areas in the ocean of the
What
marine
about the
life.
main thing about just experiencing the environment? Have you ever experienced it quite the way you have this week?
No, actually, this is my first time snorkeling. The first time I jumped in the water, I was actually quite afraid, but I got over that quickly.
I see you smile when you talk about snorkeling, so it was a fun experience.
Yes, it was very fun. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You'll be doing more of it, you think?
Hopefully in the very near future. Yes, sir. I would tell them they're missing a lot. You know, the ocean is a very beautiful place with a lot of different wildlife. Very beautiful.
Colon cancer is the third most common cancer affecting Bahamians. Your risk of developing colon cancer is increased if you have a personal history of colorectal cancer or colon polyps, a family history of colon cancer, or inflammatory bowel diseases such as ulcerative colitis. Other factors that can increase your risk of developing colon cancer are low fiber, high fat diets, a sedentary lifestyle, obesity, smoking, and alcohol. You can take steps to reduce your risk of colon cancer by making specific lifestyle changes. Eat a variety of fruits, vegetables, and whole grains. These foods contain fiber, minerals, vitamins, and antioxidants, which may play a role in cancer prevention. Drink alcohol in moderation or not at all. Do not smoke. Exercise with a goal of getting in at least 30 minutes each day. If you've been inactive, start slowly and gradually build up to 30 minutes. Also, talk to your doctor before starting any exercise program. Maintain a healthy weight. If you're at a healthy weight, maintain it by combining a well-balanced diet with daily exercise. If you need to lose weight, ask your doctor about healthy ways to achieve your goal. Colon cancer screening can also help to prevent colon cancer or lead to its early detection when treatment is most effective. If you're 45 years or older, speak to your doctor about having a colonoscopy or some form of colon cancer screening that may be appropriate for you. I'm Dr. Eugene Marcus Cooper. Pay attention to your health. Get the facts and discuss colon cancer with your physician today.
This message is brought to you by the Ministry of Health in partnership with the Public Hospitals Authority.
Tanya Lightborn. I am pleased to have with me Mrs. Sandina Neely. She is a supermom. She is a born leader. Goals.
I have one boy and one girl, and I guess what you call now, I've turned into my mother. I'm a doting mom now.
You become a mom. You become your mother.
How? How did it happen? When did it happen? And when we were younger, didn't we always say, I'll never be like them?
I'm never going to do that. I'm never going to, and then voila.
And look at us.
During this World Diabetes Awareness Day, the Ministry of Health and Wellness and the Pan American Health Organization and the World Health Organization wants to advise you that to lower your chance of getting high blood pressure and diabetes, here are some things you can do.
Eat healthier foods such as fruits and vegetables. Exercise for 30 minutes a day, 4 times per week. Get to your ideal body weight. Cut back on the amount of alcohol you consume and stop smoking. If you have already been diagnosed with diabetes, take care of yourself. Make sure that you have a blood sugar monitoring machine at home. If you need one, visit the nearest public health clinic. Talk to your healthcare provider today about how you can live a longer and healthier life with or without diabetes. Remember, your health is in your hands.
This message is brought to you by PAHO WHO, Bahamas and Turks and Caicos Islands, the Ministry of Health and Wellness, and the Healthy Bahamas Coalition.
We are here in the time of need. There's no discrimination. The mission is to relieve the suffering. We volunteer, we deliver care with donors and partners. training throughout the years. We empower to heal the world. There is hope, assistance with disasters. There is shelter and love for our people. We can work together to help those in need. So volunteer with us and donate to show you care. There is hope, assistance with disasters. There is shelter and love for our people. We can work together to help those in need. So volunteer with us and donate to show you care. Together, let's build a more resilient Bahamas. Community farming for food security. Climate programs suited for our island country. Together, let's build a more resilient Bahamas.
This message brought to you by the Bahamas Red Cross Society in conjunction with the Broadcasting Corporation of the Bahamas.
For able seaman Terence Scavella, who loves the sea, it was still an eye-opener.
For me, it's always a pleasure. You know, it's nice. Like I said, growing up in Albuquerque, I do this on the regular. So for me, it's always good to get back in the water and get wet.
What would you tell, not just your colleagues, but Bahamians, other Bahamians, about this kind of experience?
What I would like to tell them is this sort of stuff should be done more. Get out and experience it. You don't have to be an expert swimmer or a professional. Just come out and see what Just come out and see what the Bahamas have to offer. We have a beautiful sun, land, and sea. So it's good to come out and enjoy the fresh air. Even though I thought I knew a lot about the ocean, I didn't know nothing at all. So for me, it's good to know more species about coral, invasive species, non-invasive species, and stuff like that.
While the workshop was primarily for law enforcement officers, Daniela Pratt, who is a project officer in the Sustainable Development Goals Unit of the Office of the Prime Minister, also took advantage of the course. Now, if you don't know, the Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs, are a collection of 17 global goals set by the United Nations General Assembly in 2015. The target, 2030. Goal 13 focuses on climate action. Goal 14 on life below water. And Goal 15 addresses life on land, all key environmental issues.
Well, for the unit itself, it's in a transitional phase. We would have started off, of course, with the Economic Development and Planning Unit. So this unit is relatively new. So our focus is more on implementing, monitoring, and reporting, and kind of having that coordinated approach with all of the government agencies and non-government agencies. So we're starting out, which is good. Initially, when I had asked to be a part of it, I didn't know that it was going to be law enforcement based. So for me, that was, not say surprising, but it was good to see that, these are the agencies, not because they're law enforcement, they still have a role to play in the environment and protecting it, especially the Defense Force. They come in contact with all these different pouches or fishing vessels, and just to give them the knowledge and the understanding to know, okay, these are the type of fish that you look for, this is the season that they're not supposed to be doing it in. So that's like extra manpower and enforcement for the environment.
Like other participants, Daniela was introduced to a whole new world.
This is actually my first time actually experiencing all of this, all the and sundry. So I'm definitely enjoying it. It kind of gives you that background, or the knowledge and the tools, giving you the science background at least. So when you go back into the office and you're there, kind of giving your input into policy development, you just don't have just that thought. You now have the science to back it up. That was my first dive in the big blue sea ever taking that plunge. It was intense for me, but I survived. I made it. So it was good. It was a really, really good experience for me.
Are you a swimmer?
No, so I'm not a swimmer.
So explain because a lot of Bahamians would say, well, I can't do that because I can't swim.
I think it's mind over matter a lot for me. So that wasn't actually our first time in the water. So that would have been probably like day 4. So for me, I kind of got used to it, just getting in. I think once you get in, that's it. You know, you're used to seeing, of course, the underwater films and all the corals and stuff like that. So it's different when you get in and then you're actually looking at these lives, the different species of fish that we were taught in class and actually seeing them in their natural habitat. So that was just phenomenal for me.
So you call it life-changing?
Yes, actually, I'm kind of considering to do swimming classes and get more out into the deep blue sea. Yes, thank you.
One of the sponsors for the workshop is the Bonefish and Tarpon Trust. Justin Lewis is the Bahamas Initiative Manager. We caught up with him when the group went to Bonefish Pond National Park in southwestern New Providence, a place that has an abundance of mangroves in the wetlands.
Bonefish inhabit the flats environment, so it encapsulates a habitat mosaic which includes not only mangroves, mangrove creeks, sand flats, seagrass flats, blue holes, and several other habitats. I think I'm loving it. This is actually the third year that we've sponsored the Brief Enforcement Workshop, and it's great getting all the enforcement agencies out, talking to them about the importance of marine conservation, talking to them about the fisheries regulations, and getting them actually out in these environments. One of the things we focus on a lot is education as well as brief, and a lot of Bahamians don't get to see these things. They don't get to get out and swim in the mangroves. They don't get to see bonefish. So it's really important that people get to get these experiences so they get more of appreciation for what the Bahamas has to offer. So bonefish are really important to the Bahamian economy. We just did a recent study that shows that bonefishing, flats fishing brings in close to $170 million to the Bahamas annually. So that's a huge economic impact, especially to the out islands where, like for example, Andros, 80% of their tourism income comes from bonefishing. So it's really these rural communities that depend on it. And also it's a cultural icon. Bonefish are found on our 10-cent coin. They used to be the staple of the Bahamian diet before we used to get food imports. So they're really important in general, not just economically, but ecologically as well.
Now, if you're like me and have never been bone fishing before, you might be wondering, what's the big deal?
You're hunting these fish. So you're sight fishing these fish, you're going out on the flats, you're able to spot them, you have to present your bait to them properly, and then if you get them to eat, it's a fight like any other. They can, as soon as you hook them, they take off 30 miles an hour and just scream line off. But then the great thing is, you release it. And if you release it properly, you'll be able to catch it for another day. So it's a sustainable, renewable resource.
And it's a real challenge. Right?
It is challenging, yes.
Marco Roberts, who is in the Law Enforcement Unit at the Ministry of Agriculture and Marine Resources, speaks to their efforts and highlights something that really disturbed him.
We have a conservation and preservation area unit in our department. It's led by Dr. Giddens. And definitely it's going to help me to work more closely with him to even learn more and I know and expand the knowledge out there to those that who didn't know or don't know like myself. It grieves me to know the amount of plastics that the Bahamians have in their waters, and it's so dangerous to the natural resources in there. You know, we learned how the resources eat the plastic and it endanger them. You understand me? And so that is something I'm going to really be conscious of now, that as I walk the beaches and walk the parks and I see plastic, to just get them and discard them.
Kevin Glinton, who is Brief's education coordinator, pointed out that the workshop participants were able to see real effects of climate change in the environment.
They saw in real terms. We had some clips of what happened in Ragged Island. You know, we had some clips of the flooding out on West Bay and as evidence of climate change. And the flooding in South Beach, you know, and we showed where the science is behind climate change. You know, one of the things we emphasize is that some people try to politicize climate change. Some people try to make it an economic issue, but it's actually the science behind it says the climate has changed faster than it usually would have over the millennia. Not that it hasn't changed, but you know, over the last from the 1700s to now, we've seen a dramatic change, which is not normal.
Moving forward, RBDF's Lieutenant Desiree Cornet wants to see a wildlife task force set up.
that if somebody is involved in the black market in anything, it's possible that they're also involved in the black market when it comes to wildlife smuggling. So when they're searching for whatever type of contraband there is, we do ask them to make sure, keep an eye out for any type of birds or reptiles or turtles or snakes or any type of wildlife that can be.
And it is exceptionally important not to have foreign species brought in and settle in the Bahamas, right? That affects our ecosystem.
That definitely is an issue. Along with the quarantine issues, we find that some become super invasive. Things like any type of pythons you might be hearing about recently, or you might hear about talk about the green iguanas that compete with our species and cause their decline. We don't want that.
Meanwhile, Casuarina McKinney-Lambert explains why all Bahamians should care.
Our marine environment gives us so many benefits. We benefit from having fisheries and fish in the ocean for our food security. Our coral reefs and mangroves protect our islands from storm damage and from hurricanes. And our reefs and flats are absolutely essential to our tourism industry. So we benefit from the ecosystem services that our marine environment provides. And workshops like this that build capacity for protecting these resources are essential for our well-being and the well-being of our children and our children's children.
Her colleague, Kevin Glinton, agrees and sums it up well.
We didn't inherit the environment from our parents. We borrowed it from our children.
While you may not have the same level of responsibility as law enforcement officers do when it comes to protecting our environment, nevertheless, we all have a responsibility to save it. We'll see you next time on The Bahamas Naturally.
You're watching the ZNS Network, the People's Station.
Sanctuary 1 to Ophelia, do you copy? Still no answer, Mom. Take us out. Let's hope they're below.
What did the message say exactly?
Just that Eric was bringing back something we'd never seen before, and we were to meet him in the harbor.
Only they never made it to the dock.
It's Eric. Yeah. Make sure Will is covered. Come on. Six dead. They weren't just killed. They were half devoured.
Whatever it was powerful. specimens were in these are long gone.
Makes you wonder what was in these cages.
You think they could have broken their way out?
It looks more like something clawed or chewed its way in. Mom, come check this out. Tranquilizer rounds only. You sure? Eric paid with his life to bring this creature back. We owe it to him to preserve it. We owe it to him to kill it. Now I know why Eric was so excited about these creatures. The hyper-camouflage makes them all but invisible.
Plus the fact that it's present in both the predator and the smaller abnormal.
The nubbins.
You gonna make me ask?
Ashley's name for them. Scientific name Nubina atelerix, according to Eric's log.
Do we know what triggers its camouflage?
It seems to be a function of both fear and aggression.
That makes sense. Hide to avoid being stalked and as an aid to the hunt.
So obviously it was the predator who was responsible for killing Eric and his crew.
Actually, track wounds on each of the victims show biological evidence of both species.
Come on, there's no way those adorable little things could have attacked anybody.
I'm not saying that they did.
So how could they have left trace on the bodies?
I'm theorizing that some of the nubbins might have escaped and survived by feeding on the dead crew members, hence the mingling of the DNA.
Well, that's creepy.
What's creepy is that a bunch of them were eaten by that nasty-ass monster.
Well, but our two little survivors, probably on their way to becoming the carnivore's next meal.
I'm gonna go see how they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
You okay?
Eric was one of the world's great hunters of abnormals. He called them evolution's experiments.
Am I reading a personal relationship?
I don't want to see a sacrifice go to waste.
Henry, have you had a chance to check out my nubbins?
Oh, you mean the... No, but I would like to.
Hey. Oh, guys, come on. There's nothing to be afraid of.
Oh, man, I think I'm allergic.
Well, you better get used to them. They're the coolest thing we ever brought back.
Hey. Huh. I gotta admit, your nubbins are pretty amazing.
Don't you just want to squeeze them?
Hey, you find anything out about our predator?
I'm still running the DNA. It'll take a few days before we can complete the analysis.
So what's going on?
We have a rather odd situation on our hands.
Isn't rather odd sort of your stock in trade?
A gentleman by the name of Maurice McRae, recently deceased, stipulated in his will that I perform the autopsy on his remains.
Why?
He spent the last years of his life in a psychiatric institution, convinced he was an abnormal.
And how do you know about you?
That's a question I have as well.
Well, I guess it's too late to ask him.
True, but his granddaughter Sophie has accompanied his body. I was hoping you could talk to her, put her at ease, while I examine her grandfather.
What does she know about the sanctuary?
Only the rumors that her grandfather passed along. Everyone was convinced that he was a few cups shy of a tea service. Everyone but Sophie.
So you're gonna go through with the postmortem?
Of course. If his claims are unfounded, well, there's no harm in fulfilling the man's final request.
Hi. You must be Sophie. I'm Dr. Zimmerman. Will.
You work with Dr. Magnus?
I do. My condolences.
Oh, thank you, Doctor.
Do you mind if I ask you a couple questions?
I already know what you're gonna say. My grandfather was an eccentric old man.
Actually, no, I don't know anything about him.
Sorry. Just all the doctors said he was suffering from advanced dementia, and my parents, just all my relatives think he was crazy.
But you didn't.
I just felt so strongly. I loved him very much.
How did he come to this decision?
He always talked about a private research facility, called it the Sanctuary. A place where what he called abnormals were given refuge. Of course, no one took him seriously. Is that what goes on here?
Well, we are a private research facility.
Research into what exactly?
A range of things.
A range.
Why don't you tell me more about your grandfather?
Grandfather could see things that other people didn't. That other people couldn't. When we spent time together, it was like the world would open up.
Sounds like an inspiring man.
He showed me what people were thinking, what they were feeling.
So he actually imparted these thoughts or sensations?
Yeah, you're humoring me.
No, I'm not. I'm just asking questions.
It's fine. I'm used to it. Dr. Zimmerman, I'm sorry. If you're gonna be so evasive, I really don't see any reason to tell you more than I have.
Okay. Dr. Magnus has made arrangements for you to stay here, as long as you're comfortable with that, until the autopsy results come in.
Thank you.
You have something against sleep, don't you?
Just doing some reading. There's a recurring legend amongst equatorial rainforest cultures about nubbins.
Nubbins? I thought Ashley made that name up.
She did. They're most often called amaratus. Apparently, the species is highly prized as harbingers of fertility and a bountiful harvest. In some societies, they were a common wedding gift to promote connubial bliss.
Before the age of self-help books.
When they vanish, it's considered a portent of discord.
How did the autopsy go on Sophie's grandfather?
Sorry?
The autopsy.
Oh, there was a significant anomaly to the frontal lobe. I'll need to do more tests to determine if it's a tumor or something else.
So it's possible that he's an abnormal?
Too early to tell, really.
I'm gonna go to bed.
Sweet dreams.
Don't forget to put out the fire.
I never do.
All right. Okay.
Are the nubbins okay? Henry said the female kept going in and out of camera mode and then swelled up like a bit.
She gave birth just after dawn. They're all fine. All 14 of them. It took them only minutes to adapt their camouflage.
Hey!
The juveniles are putting on weight so fast, I'm projecting they'll reach maturation within a day.
That rate of metabolic growth is scary. We should find a way to discourage their mating.
Not yet. I want to document a full reproductive cycle first.
Keeping this one as a pet, just so you know.
You know, in the throes of a breeding cycle, they may not be as docile as they look.
Oh, come on, I can handle a baby nubbin, Mom. White little guy. We're so cute.
What about the predator?
He showed marked signs of agitation throughout the night. Only came out of camouflage for all but a few moments.
I don't think he likes the nubbins.
But you can't say for sure.
No, not yet. But I can say that I've never seen brain structures quite like your grandfather's. Sophie, the blood I took from you is a control sample. I should tell you, I found similar biochemical anomalies to your grandfather's.
Oh my God.
It would be premature to read anything into it.
Yeah, but if he was an abnormal...
In 24 hours, all this will be much clearer.
Okay, well, look, since I've gotten here, no one has told me squat about what this place actually does. And now you're telling me I'm some kind of freak of nature, too. You guys are hiding something from me. Both of you. Why should I believe a single thing you tell me?
Sophie, we find ourselves in a very rare situation. I'm about to do something that I normally wouldn't even consider.
I don't understand. What?
You will shortly. Will, would you be so kind as to show our guest around?
Yeah, sure.
Watch yourself there, big guy. You don't want to get between them and their breakfast. You could lose a hairy digit.
I've never seen an animal with such a big appetite.
It's not just food. They're not paired up for square dancing. Oh, man.
Maybe you shouldn't be exposing yourself unnecessarily.
Yeah, the allergy pills aren't working. I just hope these little dudes aren't permanent guests.
You look as queasy as I did when I first walked this floor. Actually, you're taking it better than I did.
I sensed all of this before I got here. I mean, not the specifics, but...
Even though your granddad was gone.
Maybe passed down his gift.
Or maybe the feelings that you always saw as coming from him were coming from you. Hey, whoa. Hey, are you okay?
Yeah, just lightheaded is all it is. I tend to get these dizzy spells.
Why don't you sit down?
I'm all right.
You might be having a mild panic attack or something.
I just get like this.
Well, we'll be sure to have Dr. Magnus check it out. What is it?
The new creatures. They're upset.
I know it may be hard to believe, but those aren't tricks of the eye. Those are flesh and blood creatures.
Of course they are.
It's okay. Wow. They seem to be drawn to you. Oh. You okay? Is it coming back?
I think I should lie down for a while.
Okay.
Come in.
Hey.
Hey.
The nubbins came out of camo mode and we did a head count and one of them was missing.
Yeah, I just couldn't stop myself. What time is it?
It's almost 2.
Weird. I must have fallen asleep or something. Hey! That is not very nice. Will is a friend. Co-worker. / friend, that's all.
Maybe you should put him back. Just to be on the safe side.
Oh, little buddy, let's go.
Oh, man.
I'm so sorry. Get Brooke in here. Oh, let me get that for you. This here. Just toss it in here. Man. Oh, do that.
You wouldn't have a man's shirt lying around, would you?
Medium, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Can I ask you something?
Sure.
Have you been feeling, I don't know, odd?
How do you mean?
Well, I'm not sure, but ever since we got back from that ship, I felt,
Woozy.
Is that how you're feeling?
Yeah. Kinda.
I think sometimes I can be a little standoffish. I mean, I know I can be snippy.
No, not at all.
I don't want you to think that I'm, unappreciative or unapproachable. I've been accused of that by guys.
Yeah, me too. Not by guys, but
Right.
you know what I mean.
Are you okay?
Yeah, it's just these new contacts. I'm just getting used to them.
I really like you.
Really?
Without glasses.
Yeah.
Well. Where's my nubbin?
First I thought they were just camouflaging, but I swept the entire cell feeling for them.
Don't tell me they've escaped.
Something gnawed through the ventilation grate from the outside.
Mayday.
I'm gonna err on the side of caution. I want the building sealed. Nobody goes in or out.
Threat level, holy crap, check.
These creatures escaped the sanctuary, and we'll have much more than a pest control problem on our hands.
Can we not turn this into a planetary crisis just yet? They're 14 little furballs.
Invisible furballs.
We'll round them up, okay?
If they reach sexual maturity as fast as they've reached full size, well, do the math.
But they haven't overrun their native habitat, right?
Camouflage or not, they wouldn't be much of a secret. That's the one saving grace. Something must control their numbers.
What about the predator Eric brought back?
It's one of a number of theories I'm working on. Though their shared trait of camouflage doesn't necessarily define their relationship on the food chain.
Well, we could try to draw them out if we could just figure out what they crave. You know, besides other nubbins.
Well, we know they're hungry little suckers. I'll, make sure our food stores are protected.
Too late for that. They've already wiped out the pantry and the walk-in.
What? There's nothing left?
Right. We go floor by floor. Snares, tranquilizers, whatever it takes.
guy. It's okay. Here you go. That's good. Yeah, nobody's gonna hurt you, little fella. Nobody's gonna... That's it! I lied! I'm gonna hurt you! Your mother was a sewer rat!
I'm going to schedule a full rabies series. Unless we can confirm its absence in every nubbin out there.
Isn't that, like, super painful?
I'm not going to lie to you, Henry.
No, it's okay. Please, you can lie to me.
Those poor things must have been pushed to the limit.
Hey, listen. I know you're all about saving the whales and everything, but these guys just happen to be a pack of vicious, oversexed, hyperthyroid invisirodents.
Stop demonizing them. They were just afraid.
Ashley, we have no history with this species. We cannot take this attack lightly. Now, how many have we recaptured so far?
3. Or so.
3.
Almost 4.
Out of 14.
Actually, I'd go up about 5 times. That's it.
What did you see?
I'm not sure "see" is the right word, but by the way they rippled, I'd say we're looking at several litters of newborns. But hey, they won't be doing the horizontal tango for like hours.
We need to corral them all as quickly as possible. Henry, I'm taking you off the front lines. I want you working on a more technological solution.
I'm good with that.
Tell me you're not talking about exterminating them.
I'd like nothing more than to see them all safely back in their cell unharmed. Yeah, but we wouldn't even be having this discussion had you shown better judgment. Come in.
Hi.
Could you give us a moment?
Yeah.
Sure. Thank you.
Hey.
Dr. Magnus.
Hello, Sophie.
Will said you might be able to help me.
Yeah, please, have a seat.
He told you about the headaches and spins and all that?
If it's all right with you, I'd like to conduct a few simple tests.
Simple, like brain scans?
Probably prudent under the circumstances.
I know you have more important things to deal with. You're in the middle of a crisis.
Actually, by sanctuary standards, this is just another day at the office.
What did my grandfather die of?
A brain aneurysm.
Oh, and you said that we have similar anomalies.
Well, let's just see what happens before we anticipate, all right?
Okay.
It's gonna be okay, Sophie.
Okay, here's my idea. We capture a male nubbin, use it as bait, and wait for the females to swarm.
Or we use the female as bait and watch the males swarm.
Well, we want as many of the childbearers back in captivity as possible.
As if the girls are gonna go all weak-kneed over the right nubbin.
I'm sorry, the right nubbin?
You know, smart, handsome, good sense of humor, go-getter, dedicated to the same things you are, loves long walks on the beach.
Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Johnny Nubb in the crosshairs.
There's nothing that threatens your health. You're fine, Sophie.
But you did find something.
It's completely benign. Similar to what we found in your grandfather's brain. A tissue structure that bridges your frontal lobes.
Like a tumor?
No, nothing like that. There's a nerve bundle that links this unusual organ to the thalamus. I think it may be used in pre-verbal communication.
Oh, this is unbelievable.
I suspect it's some sort of empathic ability. In my world, it's a genetic expression that may well preview an evolutionary advance.
I just always attributed it to Maurice. It only ever happened when I was with him.
He wanted to bring out your gifts, no doubt. That's what the will was about.
This condition that I have, assuming that you're right, what does it mean I can do?
Oh, that's for you to explore. With our help, if you'll trust us.
start.
Oh. I'm not so sure about that.
Well, I'm telling you, we have a nubbins explosion on our hands.
I think I've found something that may well explain their popularity as a wedding gift.
Wait, don't tell me. They can be returned.
Actually, they have scent glands that emit powerful pheromones.
Huh. Well, that explains their overactive mating instinct.
In fact, it may well extend beyond their own species.
You're not saying that they're affecting us.
I mean, you noticed it.
Are you asking me if I've been feeling randy?
I've made you uncomfortable.
No, as a matter of fact, you've aroused my curiosity.
Oh, well, turnabout is fair play.
Awkward.
Poor thing.
What the hey?
What's going on?
We got problems.
You mean beyond the fact that these things are spilling out like popcorn at a matinee?
Our systems are degrading. We got surges, reboots. Must be the step-down transformer. Well, clearly that wasn't good.
All right, is it me or does it smell like fried nubbin?
Dude, I haven't been able to smell anything since they got here.
We have nubbins in 4 out of 5 infrastructure systems. Computer, cooling, electrical, air purification. They're not in the water yet.
I don't think it was an accident they brought down the computer system.
Come on, they're smart, but they're not that smart.
I don't know. A couple gets sacrificed to bring down the entire server. Air vents clogged.
Drones sent out to protect the survival of the hive.
These aren't bees. They just reproduce as fast.